Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of the nervous system reset. It is an absolutely gorgeous day here in Tampa. So, coming to you from outside, and it's it's beautiful out. So, we really spent the last 2 days together, learning about how your nervous system works and why you may kind of default to like stress, anger, or anxiety. But really, most importantly, we've started to learn about some of those tools that help us to shift into balance and regulation from that fight or flight stress state. So, what we're going to do today is focus a little bit more on long-term nervous system resilience. So, that calm, the emotional balance, and clarity and how it to become really your new normal rather than maybe something you struggle to achieve. Because the truth is, healing your nervous system is never about, you know, never feeling any stress again. And we talked about that, right? Like, it's kind of an unrealistic thing to expect. Like, oh, just take away all the stress in your life and you'll be fine. Not really feasible, right? So it's about training your body to handle stress in a healthy and regulated way. You do not have to be stuck in survival mode. You are not broken, okay? You are actually wired for resilience and healing. So today we're going to really solidify the tools that help you to live in a state of regulation, clarity, and ease. So, one thing I want you to think about is, have you ever noticed that there are some people that can go through really stressful situations and it almost seems like they're unbothered by it, or it's just not as big of a deal to them as it might feel to us. They seem to stay pretty grounded and collected. While other people, or even yourself, you look at that situation and you go, oh my gosh, like that is so overwhelming. How could you possibly get through that? Well, it isn't just about willpower or, oh, they're just a calm person. It's about that nervous system conditioning. Their body has learned how to return to a more regulated state faster after stress. And that, again, doesn't mean they've eliminated their stress. It doesn't mean that, oh, yeah, well, it was bad and now I'm fine again. It just means that they're able to regulate their system. They're able to bring things back down into a more calming state. And you can train your nervous system to do the same thing. So you don't have to feel like you're just trapped in chronic stress. You don't have to be stuck in emotional reactivity. You can rewire your body and your brain and the communication between the two to experience peace, stability, and emotional control. But it will take work. You have to be an active participant. We've already said a lot of these patterns that we've been in them for 20, 30, 40 years or more. So it's not just going to suddenly change overnight. We're not just going to say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and live a completely different life. Like it doesn't work that way as as much as we want it to and as much as we try. Because when we just try to implement something, almost cold turkey, it usually ends up stressing us out even more. So, we're going to talk about really 3 steps to have this long term nervous system resilience. And to create that lasting long term change, you really need a daily system that supports your nervous system's ability to regulate. So, there's really just a pretty simple 3-step framework that you can use to build resistance. Number 1, interrupt the stress. Interrupt it before it becomes overwhelming to you. And Some of this can be just redirecting thoughts, but most of the time people only notice stress when they're already overwhelmed, right? And they just keep going, they just keep pushing, gung ho, 100 miles an hour ahead. And then all of a sudden you hit a brick wall and you go, oh, crap, like I'm overwhelmed. So, to really build resilience, you need to catch stress early and you have to redirect your entire nervous system before it starts to spiral. So, if you find yourself feeling irritated or short-tempered over like the small things, that could be a sign like, ooh, hello, I need to redirect this. Um, if you get caught in the scroll hole, if you start doom scrolling or checking your phone excessively, that's a sign. I am so guilty of that because it feels like you can just kind of get lost in this whole other world. And it's like, okay, well, I don't have to acknowledge my current situation. I don't have to acknowledge what's happened today or what's going on or what I'm feeling on the inside because I could just live vicariously through this other person on social media. And you just start like checking your phone constantly and going back and trying to get a little bit of like that dopamine hit as well. That's just a big flag. So you find yourself doing that, you've really got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. The other thing is to watch for tension, especially in your shoulders. I'm so bad about that. I can often like end up wearing my shoulders as earrings. They're just up here, carry like all of my stress there. Your stomach, like a nervous stomach, but especially in your jaw, when you have just the clenching of your jaw, and it's like, oh yeah, I should relax it. So that's a sign. Or if you suddenly feel really exhausted or just emotionally drained. So, some really great quick reset techniques. You're in the middle of the scroll hole and you've been sitting there, and the next thing you know, an hour's gone by. Like, oh, crap. Like I'm clearly caught in this. And you start to tune back in and reconnect with your body. And you realize, like, oh, like, I'm clenching my jaw. Everything's kind of tight. I don't feel good. I'm kind of like nauseous. And when you start to reconnect with your body and you start to recognize those things, sometimes our first instinct is to flee, but we don't want to do that. We want to turn and redirect to a quick reset technique. You can do that by extended exhaling your breath. So you breathe in for 4 seconds and then you exhale out for 8. So your exhalation becomes longer than your inhalation. Okay, so breathe in for 4. You could hold it for 4 if you'd like, but slow down your exhalation. So you breathe out for a count of 8. Breathe in for another 4, and then breathe out for a count of 8. Okay. Second way, shake your body. Just like we talked about yesterday, the neurogenic tremoring, just get it out. Releasing that, moving that is moving your body, is moving that energy. So it will help to release that energy. And then you can also activate the vagus nerve for instant calm by simply humming or chanting. For a lot of people, I think music can be very helpful, but you want to choose the right music, right? We talked all about frequency yesterday and how important it is to choose good frequency, music especially. So you can turn towards a particular musician, a particular song, or you can just or chant, say a mantra over and over again. Any of that is going to create the vibrations that will affect the vagus nerve that runs right alongside of the voice box. And by stimulating that vagus nerve, it's going to help calm your system. The other thing to do on the daily is to give yourself daily safety signals. So another thing that we've already talked about, is pulling everything together, right? So your body needs those repeated signals that it's safe. And the more you reinforce these signals, then the faster your nervous system is going to learn to stay regulated. So, what are some things? And these are also in your workbook from yesterday as well. So, daily safety practices. Start with one. Okay, say, okay, I'm going to do this one in the mornings, or I'm going to do this one in the evenings before I go to bed. And then maybe eventually you work up and you do all three of these things. Or you find that I regulate best whenever I ground myself and have a safety practice before I go to bed every night. And that's typically what I do. I find that I just kind of dump everything from the day, I ground myself out, and I have a good practice in the evening. And I feel like evenings are good for me too because I'm not rushed with my schedule, my routine. I feel like I have more time in the evenings. So I don't have to feel like, oh, I got to hurry up and get that done and check it off my list, which again kind of defeats the purpose for us, right? Like we want to make sure that we have time for ourselves and we feel grounded out, that it is a safety signal that we are giving our body. So you could do things like grounding breath work or gentle movement. Take just a 5 minute nervous system break, like whatever you're doing in the middle of the day. You can set a timer, and then set it for 5 minutes and take 5 minutes to yourself to just stretch, to breathe, go get fresh air. Years ago, I worked at the hospital and there were always staff members taking smoking breaks. And there was a coworker of mine that was not a smoker, but he said, you know what? They always get like breaks to go out and smoke. It's like, I don't want to be a smoker, but if they get those breaks, why don't I get some kind of a break? And he was right. And actually, he really started a great little trend, really, amongst coworkers. And it kind of basically we made it a chewing gum break. So to be able to step outside for just a few minutes to get a breath of fresh air was huge. It was a huge help. And then you can also just do a nervous system wind down. So that's great for the evenings as well, a meditation, doing some journaling, having those binaural beats, any kind of tiny habit that you can easily incorporate into your day will help you to rewire your nervous system for resilience. You do not have to do 2 hour long meditations every day. Okay, you can just take 5, 10, 15 minutes to ground yourself out, to journal, to take some deep breaths, box breathing, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and repeat, or lengthen those breaths. There are so many options, and these are all going to be in that workbook for you as well to read through. But it shouldn't add more stress, okay? Just pick one thing, one time of day, implement it, and after a week, reevaluate, check back in, see how you're doing, see if there's one that you really enjoy more so than another. I love plants. Plant therapy is my thing. I love to, water them and talk to them, just the tactile sensations, playing in the dirt. We talked about grounding and how you can get out into the earth, walk barefoot through the grass or in the sand. That helps to release that serotonin, that happy hormone that you need. And you can achieve the same thing by just getting your hands down in the dirt and in the soil. So even if you live in an apartment complex and all you have is like indoor plants or some plants out on your balcony, just get in there, repot plants, talk to them, get your hands on the soil, and that's going to help you to ground out as well. Think of your nervous system like a muscle. So the more you train it, the stronger it's going to become. And when you practice moving between stress and calm, in an intentional manner, then your body is going to learn how to recover faster from stress. So if we think about something slightly stressful, don't think about something that's overwhelming, but like, okay, I need to make sure that I get all of my laundry done today. Like that's not really overwhelming, but I got some other things to do, like if I don't do my laundry today, then it'd be more difficult to do it tomorrow. And then if I don't do it, I'm going to have very limited options on what I can wear for the office, so slightly stressful, not too overwhelming. But with that, just that little thing, you can notice how your body reacts. Does it kind of tighten up a little bit? Yeah, it does. Because immediately I start thinking, like, okay, I have to do that. Oh, I've also got that on my list and that on my list. I got to make sure that I get that done because if I don't, there's a consequence to it. Right? So my body does kind of tighten up. My heart rate speeds up a little bit. Maybe start breathing a little faster. So it's about becoming aware of how your body is reacting. And once you're there, you need to shift back into a calm state. So I notice that my body kind of tenses up. I notice my heart rate goes up a little bit because I start to breathe a little bit faster. I'm going to go, okay, I need to shift back into that calm state. And I'm going to do that by using a slow breathing technique. So I'm going to breathe in for 4, and then I'm going to breathe out for 8. And then I'm going to repeat that. And you do that for like 3 or 4 rounds, and you just start to feel your body relax a little bit more. Or maybe pick a mantra like, I am safe. I can handle this. I am safe. I can handle this. You could combine them if you wanted to. So if you're taking a deep breath in, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am safe. I can handle this. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So picking, say, just that one little thing. Whenever you notice things begin to tighten or shift for you, then just repeat it every day. Whenever you feel that change, just repeat it. And it will train your nervous system to handle stress without overreacting because we're breaking a cycle that's been happening. So we have to start consciously, and then that will open it up and put it into our subconscious over time. So we've been talking about some really great tools to start rewiring your nervous system for that long-term resilience. But let's be real here. Like these 3 days, they're great and all, and you can always come back to these videos. You can always, look over the action steps. You have the workbook that you can go through. You can begin to implement them. But you really need to be doing it over time, right? It's going to take some time. And that healing and growth is easier when you have the support. So if you feel called to, I want to invite you to check out the Neurobalance Tribe because that is where you can really continue this journey. And what we do in there is we provide guided nervous system healing sessions. So it's kind of like you got a glimpse the past, today and the past 2 days, kind of what we talk about in there, talking about the tools and the action steps. But you also get meditations and breath work, sound baths, and things that you can go into and access at any time. You also get Q&A support. from me. So you actually fill out a little form when you join, and we see kind of where your nervous system is at right now. And is there anything in addition that we can provide for you that will help you regulate your nervous system? So whether that's, nutritional support or some other additional tools that we can provide you, that is available to you as well. And most importantly, there's a community of like-minded people that are committed to healing and growing. And that is so important. You've probably heard the saying that you become um, like the 5 people that you hang around with the most, right? And if all 5 of those people are stressed out the wazoo, that doesn't help your nervous system at all, right? It makes it a little bit more difficult for you to heal. So when you have that strong, solid community that can, you know, talk you off a ledge, if you will, um, then that will help you to regulate your system better. And we do that not only through like the NeuroBalance Tribe, the online hub that we have, but there's also a Slack channel. And that means that anytime you can get into that Slack group, you can make a comment, I'm in there, and other community members will be in there. And you have the opportunity to ask questions or just even share wins, which I always love to see. So since you've been with me the past couple of days and today, I do want to offer half off of your first month. So you can use the discount code RESET50 and you get 50% off of your first month. So all of that will be in the group as well and attached to this video, but you can sign up at the NeuroBalance Tribe by going to abalancedme.com. abalancedme.com. Yes. And that is really where you can just start to dive in and work on that long-term resilience and gaining a more regulated, peaceful nervous system. So just remember that you are not broken, okay? You were not born wrong. You are capable of amazing and great things. And there is so much more to explore with this. The past 3 days, that is just like the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg. Like there is so much more diving in that we can do together. And when you do that and you open your nervous system up and you regulate it, you find so many more opportunities in life. And life becomes, it presents itself to you in such a different way and in ways that you never maybe even thought of or thought was possible. So you are not alone in this journey. There are so many people that are overwhelmed and stressed, and it's time to make a change. And you can do that. You are capable of experiencing deep calm, clarity, and emotional balance. So healing doesn't happen overnight. That would be great, wouldn't it? But every single small step that you take will rewire you and will rewire your nervous system for lasting peace. So the next step from here, take action. Whether it's just what we've covered the past 3 days and what's in the workbook for you, that you just keep going back and you revisiting that and you're putting it to practice, or you join in the group so that you have continued accountability and community and access to additional tools, because there's so many different tools out there. And for one person, one particular tool may be great. For another, they need something different. We're also going to have certain health chats in the group as well. So if there's something in particular that you are, wanting to get help with or address, not just nervous system balance, but also talk about like balancing hormones or a weight loss journey, all of that's going to be in there as well. So don't just consume information, because there's a lot out there, but implement it And something like the Neural Balance Tribe can help you to do that. So don't forget to breathe. And I hope to see you inside of the Neural Balance Tribe. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, reach out with any questions. We'd love to hear some feedback, or any success stories that you've had even over the past 3 days together. Thank you so much again for joining me, and I do hope to see you inside of Neural Balance.